Welcome to your chordal lesson of the week, and I am very excited for this lesson today because it's all about dark ambient guitar chords. And I had a question a few weeks ago on how you can create darker chords for ambient guitar, and I think that person was referring to my ambient sketch number 35, which is called Dark Ambient Guitar Chords, and it goes like this. And this sounds really dark, and I'm going to explain to you why. It is really subjective as to what a real dark ambient guitar chord is, but at least I'm going to give you some guidelines so you can build your own dark chords. So my first guideline is to have a low center of gravity for your chord. It means that you are going as much as possible to play on the thickest string of your instrument. If you haven't watched my lesson on the timbre of the strings, I really recommend to listen to it because that's really what I'm talking about here. So when I play that chord here, it's a bit complicated. To have a comfortable voicing, I have to use my thumb on the 9th fret 6th string. But what this chord is just a C sharp sus2 chord. I could just have played the regular sus2 shape here, which is really easy to play, but the center of gravity is on the tiniest strings, which makes this shape more bright. It's brighter than this one. This one is exactly the same notes, but it sounds darker, it sounds boxy, it sounds more intimate, and that's the kind of tonality that you want to have for your dark ambient guitar chords. You want this to be very dark and sad and depressing, and just with the tone of your string alone, I'm not talking about the tone on your guitar or the settings on your pedals on your amp. Just the thicker the strings you play, the darker it's going to sound. So keep that in mind. My second guideline, it kind of contradicts what I've said on the first guideline, but it's to incorporate open strings in your chords. And by definition, the open strings are going to be brighter, right? Because they're open, but they give you much more possibility as to what you can create for your chord. So if I just play my chord here like that, it sounds okay, but when I add the first E string, it really gives a nice dimension, a new friction inside of the chord that we haven't had when I didn't include the E string. Which brings me to the third and most important guideline. It's to incorporate as many notes from a minor scale in a row that you can in your chord. And that's really the secret to the darkest ambient guitar chords that you can create. So we are going to completely forget how we build chords usually. Because usually we build chords by stacking thirds, right? I talk about it very often. So if you want a great chord, you take the first, the third, and the fifth note of a scale and you stack them. And it makes for a very balanced chord. But we are going to completely forget that now. If we analyze the chord that I've played here, it's in C sharp minor. So we have the notes C sharp, D sharp, E, and G sharp. So basically we almost have all of the notes from the scale in a row. We have like this. We have 1, 2, 3, 5. And we have all that in a row inside of our chord. And that's really the secret of having very dark chords, because you have a lot of friction inside of your chord. You have this. You have this. And the friction makes the darkest chords possible. And when I change the bass note underneath, it even gives them a push a little bit. I'm gonna make another example with that concept using my ambient sketch number 3. So it's a long ago, and it goes like this. Just this chord here, it's a E minor chord. I think I have taken this chord from an Opeth song. By the way, if you want some really nice chords that you can take for your dark ambient guitar songs, the soft passages of the band Opeth is a gold mine for those kinds of chords. So this is a chord that I have taken from a song from Opeth. I don't remember the name, but I know that Ackerfeld sings some polyrhythms on top. It goes like this. Da, 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 something like this. If someone knows this song, please write the title in the comment section. I have forgotten the name of this song, but this chord here is crazy. So if we analyze the notes of this chord according to a E minor scale, we have E, F sharp, G, and A. This is so cool. I don't know if you realize what's happening, but it's the whole beginning of the scale in order. E, F sharp, G, and A. It's the first 4 notes of an E minor scale, all in order, all in the same chord. But it's just on different octaves. If we wanted the notes on the real octave, we would have to play it like this, which is impossible if you don't use tapping. So it's just at a different octave, but it's all in the same order as the scale, and that gives so much friction and tension to this chord. If you play any 2 notes together, you can hear the friction. So this is the darkest chord that I know for sure, and it kind of follows the same guideline of having a low center of gravity, having open strings, and as many notes as we can in the same order of a minor scale. So it can sound like it's complicated to create your own dark ambient guitar chords, because that would be very stretchy to play a 1, 2, minor, third, 4 of the scale in the same order, but it's not. In most of the cases with open strings, it's very easy to do. So now I have made an example in C sharp minor, have made an example in E minor. So let's try to build a dark ambient guitar chord in the key of D minor. So we had C sharp minor, E minor, and D minor now. Just to give you the proof that in many keys it's really easy to create a nice dark ambient guitar chord. From our D minor scale, we have to play as many notes as possible in a row. So we have to play a D, a E, F, and G. D, E, F, and G. So we already have an open string that has a D note. We have an open string that has a E note. And we already have an open string with a G note. So we have the 4th, 3rd, and 1st strings that we can just leave open. We just need to find the F note in the cracks between, and the F note happens to be on the 6th fret 2nd string. So now we have a very, very simple chord that we can use for dark ambient. And we can play with our remaining fingers if we want. So you see how easy it can be if you follow the guidelines. So first, have a low center of gravity, add some open strings to your fretted notes, and try to include as many notes in a row as possible from a minor scale. And it's going to be a great starting point to create your dark ambient guitar chords. That's it. I hope you really enjoyed this lesson. I do. If you feel like it, you can grab your freebies in the description box. I have a free mini course on ambient guitar chords, and I have a free ebook where I share my best practices to make some successful ambient guitar songs. It could be very handy if you want to create your dark ambient guitar songs, okay? So if you feel like it, grab your free stuff in the description box and give a big thumbs up to this video if you want to support the channel. And until next time, au revoir.